opinions expressed by the On the Spot with David Rodgers show are solely based on the show's hosts, guests, and viewers, and we are solely responsible for all show content in its entirety and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of our sponsors in any way. These broadcasts are presented and made public by the On the Spot with David Rodgers show in the hope that it will be entertaining and informative to our viewers and listening audience.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. Tonight brought to you by Fun Point Food and Arcade and Start. Check out the all-new menu on Facebook or www.funpointstart.com. And by Miracle Automotive and Recovery in both Stark and McClinney. Call Miracle at 904-368-1114. Miracle Automotive, where miracles happen every day. I'm your host, the voice of the Bradford High Tornadoes, and
the show pony,
David Rodgers, and welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, and filling in again tonight as co-host, I am the Dragon Slayer, Michael Heater. Welcome aboard, everybody. Glad to have you one more time.
This is your show coming to you on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday and Saturday night. You control and run this show. We are just a rudder that steers this big old vessel, this big old ship, as we call it.
Yeah.
We are coming to you live from the On the Spot studios right here along historic Call Street in beautiful downtown Stark, Florida. Only 1,700 miles from, believe it or not, Austin, Fountain, Colorado. Location of a dog will lick its butt, but not eat a pickle road. It is an actual road. Look it up.
I like it.
Austin, you believe me? You better not.
I don't believe you.
Okay, we bring it to you first for education, discussion, and debate of local news and politics and sports, as well as the latest on the COVID-19 situation and breaking news around our great nation. We have you covered from Middleburg to Melrose to McIntosh, from Lake City to Lake Butler to Lake Como, from Waldo to Williston, from Lottie to Lulu. Boo-hoo! I've had a spotting, Dave Holland. Lulu's cousins from the Michael Heater side of the family. Brother Louis Armstrong Heater. Sister Christian and her brother's Heater. Cousin Mr. Roboto Heater. Aunt Sister Golden Hair Surprise Heater. Uncle Jack Sparrow and his Grumpy Men Heater. Great Uncle Bigfoot Sasquatch Heater.
You really know him, huh?
Yes, and Great Aunt Mrs. Bigfoot Sasquatch Heater. They were actually preparing us a meal tonight.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know what time it'll come, and I don't know what it will be, but we'll find out. And all points in between, including Gainesville, Palaco, Ocala, and of course right here in beautiful Stark, Florida. Now here's your on-the-spot team, making it happen every single week. First, putting it all together behind the scenes, our executive producer, Super Dave Holland. Say hello, David.
Hello, everybody.
John, Better Than Snow's Probst, who is actually on special assignment down in Tampa, checking out a couple of things at the Hard Rock Cafe for us.
Oh, outstanding.
Hey, maybe I'd be able to have a show from there.
There you go.
Rounding out the team is Austin Storm Chaser Stevens, who's in studio tonight working on the weather forecast. Say hello, Austin.
Good evening, everyone.
And you did steal Byron's quote?
No, I didn't say good evening, infidels. Oops.
Oh, yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
That's Byron Bagwell's going to find you. And our great media partners, WEAG, Eagle Country 106.3 FM, Chuck and Mary Kramer and Lynn Bellis and the Bradford County Telegraph with their great staff as well. Both Byron Bagwell and Mitchell Gunner are on the road this evening, but they will be back with us, ladies and gentlemen, next Tuesday evening.
There you go.
So let us get things kicked off, as we always do, with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic wisdom and quote of the week. Let us pray. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once thank you again for a wonderful and glorious day you've given us, dear Lord. Let us thank you for the time that you've given me with my crew, the On the Spot guys, my brothers from another mother. Thank you for letting us have this time together. Thank you for letting us bring this show to our viewing audience. And as we bring the information, let them disseminate. Let them think of what they think of what we're saying, dear Lord. And then it goes into their brains and their minds, and they take and do the things that they need to do with that information. Thank you for letting us live in the greatest country in the world today, the United States of America, the most freest country in the world and the most powerful. Thank you for our armed forces, the greatest armed forces in the world today, fighting for our freedoms and our rights. Thank you, and keep a hedge of protection over them and bring them back home safely to their families. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day as it goes into the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Thank you for everything that you've done for us this week, throughout this weekend, and what you're going to do for us in the upcoming week, dear Lord. Any spoken or unspoken prayer requests, that you touch each and every one of them, dear Lord. You know their needs and what they're looking for, dear Lord. Touch them. You're the ultimate healer. You're the ultimate God, dear Lord, and you can bring peace and mind to those people. Thank you again for letting us do this show and bring this show to everyone and what you're going to do for us throughout the rest of the week. And we ask for these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. And the congregation says,
Amen.
Amen. All right, let us stand for the pledge. And I'm going to ask Mr. Michael Heater for the third time, Mike, to do the pledge.
Let's do it one more time.
I love doing the pledge. Let's do it all the time.
Let's do it. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
Yeah.
Hey! Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I want to apologize for the connection problems that we had earlier as we try to get the show kicked off. But we do got those things resolved now. Hey, we have a great team right here. All we got to do is just give Dave Holland just a few minutes.
That's it.
Dave will figure out what's going on. We've got things back online. We will let you know. If those things start going away, we will let you know right away. And I tell you what, when we can do that, Michael, we can prepare everybody instead of just shutting it down. I'd like to give everybody a little bit of a preparation time in case that does happen.
Yeah.
But right now, we are on it. So we got our patriotic wisdom and quote of the week. Here we go. Too often, we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. What do you think, Mike? Who do you think said that?
I know we talked about this before.
We did.
And that is a tremendous quote.
Yes, it is.
Considering today's environment with
Yes.
social media, that is an outstanding quote, well ahead of its time, by none other than President John F. Kennedy.
That would be correct, sir. John F. Kennedy, great president. Unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to fulfill his term fully. And I'll tell you what, Michael, just what I've read about him, what I know, I was born in 1962, so I didn't know him personally or got to grow up with him. But I hear he would have been a heck of a president.
Oh, absolutely. He was one of the few, what you would call a true patriot. I mean, he served in the military. He was young and idealistic, which I think was a kind of a really shift in the thought process when you're coming out of the 50s and into the turbulent 60s. And as a result of that, he was kind of a breath of fresh air into the political system of the United States. Which
I've heard the term used like a paradigm shift. He was like the
Absolutely.
paradigm shift from the 50s, which is a great term that I've heard. And David, we talked a little bit about this today. You know, John F. Kennedy ran as a Democrat, but back then, you've heard even our co-host Byron Bagwell say, Democrats thought a little bit differently back then than they do now.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys that was for the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was for the people. He was for this country. He was trying to make everything, like you said, there was a paradigm shift from the 50s to the 60s, young, enthusiastic. And I do really believe that he was for the people and he would have done some great things. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see that fully. And we will never know now, will we? But I know he's got some great quotes out there. So
Yeah, I like the way he explained the policies and the issues that was going on in our country back then.
Well, hey, for him to step up in the Cuban Missile Crisis like he did right there, I mean, that took some, back then, that took some big cojones, if I can say that. That took some big cojones for a guy that young to come out and do that. But John F. Kennedy, like I said, won't never know, but will go down as a president and in the folklore of presidencies. All right, here's another one.
Okay.
There's nothing in the Constitution that says the president stops being the president in his last year. Do you know that quote?
I do know that quote.
All right.
That quote was from about 4.5 years ago in 2016 when there was a huge debate over a presidential appointment for the Supreme Court. And the person who said that was none other than Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
which we'll have some news coming up today, unfortunately, or fortunately. I mean, unfortunately, I don't want anybody to ever pass away. But, I know how some people feel about people, and sometimes they say it's a good thing, bad thing. We never talk that way here. We just pass on the news and keep going forward. So, anyway, welcome to the show again. Seems to be holding up right now, gentlemen, and we're looking for a great show. Before we delve into today's latest, we want to recognize our great sponsors, without whom we would not have a show. It's not possible, Mike. It is not possible. This is our sponsor spotlight. Fun Point Food and Arcade, Williams Jewelry on Call Street, Brittany Leanne Creations,
Absolutely.
Southern Gym Photography, Miracle Automotive and Recovery, and Dependable Waste Services.
Absolutely. Hey, don't forget Harry Business of Stark, home of the $10 haircut. Boogie Nights DJ service. I know that guy. Schuster and Saban Law Offices. The great folks at the Downtown Grill. Designs by Probst. And, of course, On the Spot Lawn Maintenance.
No, both of those guys.
Yeah.
And now here is the 360. We take you around the community and region with news and weather in 6 minutes. It's 360 degrees in 360 seconds. Tonight brought to you by Dependable Waste Services in Stark. From land clearing to waste management to commercial accounts. All you got to do is call the man himself. Jamie Clemens can make your land the place to be. Call Austin 904-966-0255.
I like it.
Stark Police Department executed a search warrant at 1642 South Walnut Street in a shopping plaza next to Lightning Pond in reference to an illegal gambling establishment. Detectives located gambling equipment, narcotics, and firearms inside the illegal establishment. The investigation is still ongoing. We need to sell that equipment, Michael.
I could say, and again, it's something that we brought up briefly. A lot of the equipment and money, weaponry, that sort of thing that's confiscated is turned around and repurposed into funds that go into supporting community outreach programs, crime prevention, and supporting law enforcement officers with better equipment. So it's actually not just a matter of locating and removing the equipment, it's actually repurposing it to other locations or areas to benefit our own officers locally.
And ladies and gentlemen, you cannot buy this equipment personally. This is it is illegal equipment. You cannot have this in your house. You cannot purchase it personally. So I guarantee they've got a plan, as Michael said, to who they're going to sell it to. Whether somebody in Vegas, whether somebody in Biloxi, somebody in Connecticut, somewhere it's going somewhere.
Yes, indeed.
The Florida Highway Patrol is investigating a fatal crash that happened around 3 a.m. this morning on U.S. Highway 41, southwest of Northwest Gurdon Street in Lake City. I know where that's at, Mike. Yep. A car rear-ended a semi as both vehicles were traveling southbound on U.S. 41. The sedan overturned after the collision, and the driver was ejected from the vehicle, resulting in fatal injuries. I hate that. The semi-driver was not hurt.
That's a good thing.
Yes. Marion County deputies are investigating thefts from homes under construction. Someone entered a home in the 7800 block of Southwest 86th Terrace and stole, Mike, a new GE gas range in the last few days.
Really?
Needed a stove real bad, so I guess they figured they'd do a 5-finger discount.
I guess so.
Wow.
Yeah, 5-finger discount, Dave. You like, well, in that case, 10-finger discount.
Yeah.
They're going to need 2 hands to get that thing, ain't they?
Yeah.
That's not all, Dave.
Really?
Another home under construction had over 24 bundles of floor tiles taken, and the thieves even ripped up the flooring that was already laid.
Oh, my God.
Anyone with information is to contact MCSO, and you can remain anonymous.
That's
Dave,
desperate.
what in the heck is this world coming to?
Desperate.
Desperate people, and that's exactly right. Wow, already laid tile. TSA agents at the Gainesville Regional Airport stopped a man attempted to fly from Gainesville to Charlotte with several knives hidden in a hollowed-out book. Officers noticed the knives through an X-ray image of the book. Did he not think we was going to run his suitcase or his baggage through an X-ray scanner?
Where's he been since 2001?
Maybe he was in Mars. He was on Mars.
Mars.
There you go. Well, he's 57-year-old male who was not identified by TSA, receiving a $4,000 fine. This is the good news. No flights inbound or outbound were affected or delayed. So they caught that. This is good TSA agents doing their job and doing their homework and catching this kind of stuff.
Tough job
Great
they got.
Tough job as well. A female Clay County, how about this one, Dave? This one bothers me. A female Clay County Sheriff's Office switchboard operator has been arrested on, guess what, Dave? Child pornography charges after evidence came to light involving an inappropriate relationship with a 17-year-old.
Oh.
You keep hearing this all the time. And here's the lady's name, Monica Green, a CCSO employee for nearly 6 years, was on administrative leave when she was arrested on Friday.
Oh,
that's the sad news, isn't it?
Yes.
Congratulations, though. Here's some good news. Congratulations to Putnam County Fire Rescue receiving a federal grant for nearly $2.4 million that will provide for not one, David, not two, not three, Austin, not four, Michael, but 12 paid firefighters for the next 3 years.
Outstanding.
Wow.
The grant is 100% paid for by FEMA. And here's the best part, Dave. No matching funds required by the county. This is money here.
Awesome.
Pay these guys. Let's do it.
Yes.
This affords the county the time to work on funding and provides more coverage for the county immediately. Currently, the only paid staff is Palatka, Crescent City, Satsuma, and Melrose, with East Palatka during weekday business hours.
I suspect that this staffing will probably bump them to a 24-hour shift in East Palatka. Having worked on Engine 61 in East Palatka, covering shifts out there, it's sorely needed. Congratulations to Putnam County, because that's a great story coming out of there.
Great step up, man. Great news story right there. All right. Flagler County Sheriff's Office, another great story, will hold their National Night Out Trunk or Treat event on October 6th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Rimfire Elementary's bus loop on Rimfire Drive in Palm Coast. Free goodies for kids and adults. We ought to go.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. Here now is your weather update, sponsored by Austin's Weather Service out of Keystone Heights, Florida. Find AWS on Facebook for the latest information. Here he is now with the latest on the weather. Our very own. Here he is, Austin Storm Chaser and the Bionic Man, Stevens.
Hey, Bionic, but thanks. Anyways, we had
a bionic butt. What?
What?
Oh, give us the weather.
Anyways, David, you're weird, but anyways, nothing new. How'd you like that nor'easter, by the way, that I called from A to Z?
I like that. That was a very good call. That was pretty precise. Me and Michael was talking about that. Outstanding work by one of our very own right here, Austin's Storm Chaser Stevens. Usually pretty accurate on his weather reports.
That was really good.
All right, over the next several days, we can expect beautiful weather conditions with daytime highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s by Thursday, with nighttime lows in the mid 60s for the next several nights, then going back into the upper 60s, then near 70 by the next upcoming weekend.
All right. Anything for our brothers and sisters west of us, Pascagoula, Mobile? Are they seeing any clearing? What's going on in that way?
Well, this nor'easter actually got started due to a cold front, so they're actually getting the same weather as we're getting, with temperatures in the 70s through at least Monday for them, as there's a little bit of a warm front going to slide across the country. Over the next month or two, this is looking into the future, you're going to start seeing warm fronts and cold fronts slide across the deep south as we transition through fall and towards winter by Thanksgiving.
All right, let me ask this. Did you have a question for him?
No.
I was going to ask you something else. Is it clear over there for the cleanup efforts that are going on? Some of my friends have reported to me they're just now getting electricity over there, Austin. You know what I mean? Some of the cleanup is starting to go on. Is the weather going to stay clear for them for a little bit for the cleanup efforts?
For a little bit, Texas, you're on the bucket list for hurricane right now. Beta's coming at you.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's hope this hurricane don't act like a beta of a software.
And how far is it out right now, guys?
Yeah, well, from my understanding, from what Austin was telling me earlier, that this system is going to meander in the Gulf of Mexico for probably another 3 or 4 days. It will reach hurricane strength before skirting the coast of Texas, but I believe, Austin, if I remember what you said, it's going to kind of make a bit of a right-hand hook, and it's never really going to make true landfall per se, other than just brushing the coast, but still going to give us a lot of rain and wind, isn't it?
Yeah, it's some models are hinting towards like going up the coast and dumping a lot of rain over Houston, like at least 30 plus inches.
Whoa, are you kidding me, son?
And that's a repeat of what they saw several years ago when we had, was it Harvey, I believe?
Yes, it was.
That was that caused all that extensive flooding in Houston. This is almost a repeat performance of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's 2.5 foot of rain that's going to just get bucket loaded on Houston right now, according to Austin. Let me ask you, wildfires that are going on, me and Michael hit this story here in a little bit, wildfires that are going on in California. Again, I always ask this because that's our brothers and sisters out there, any chance of any kind of wetness to help those firefighters out there?
We are going into a La Nina stage with the cold fronts that do come down out of the Pacific Ocean and all that will not help anything to bring rain there. They don't start bringing rain until they reach the plains of the U.S. and then they'll start bringing rain. So this means that the eastern side of the country, up in the north, will get a bunch of snow. They'll have a snowy winter. Down here in the south, it looks like now it will become a wet, cold winter.
Wow. Well, then there you go.
Which is a miserable winter for Florida.
Yes, it is. And I tell you, if you're trying to mow your yard right now, Austin, and trying to get some things done outside, it's not very good, especially if you live in low-lying areas like I live in Lottie. Water is holding and maintaining, and it looks like a lake sometimes in my backyard.
What are you talking about? Bradford County always floods.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you, son.
I live in Keystone, and we're on top of 300 feet of sand, and then you have people out somewhere else telling us, "Oh, we need to evacuate during a hurricane." No, we don't have to worry about the flooding. It's the wind.
It's the wind, okay? Well, I have heard that the wind can move water. Is that true?
It can, but I don't. Okay, if Keystone floods, we have really major
I'm
problems.
really quizzing you here, ain't I? I think I'm the dadgum meteorologist, don't I? And I don't know the first thing about no weather. You do a great job, Austin. You do a great job. Anything else?
No, not that much. Got anything, Michael? Is your part of...
No, no. I mean, again, kudos for a great job on
great job
predicting the nor'easter. You nailed it right down to the hour when it came up. Pretty much started this morning. It's been interesting though that Bradford County received about 1/10 of an inch of rain since midnight, but the weather stations in St. Augustine and along the Atlantic coast are seeing over 4 inches of rain. Again, that nor'easter just pushing it along and coming across the coastal areas. That's giving us a lot of rain in areas that really don't need it because areas like Black Creek are subject to flooding. And while I don't see significant flooding from this event, it's not going to make things any better as we go through the next few days and weeks. Hopefully we'll get a dry spot.
And right now with water standing, Michael, all over the place, man, you can't really afford any more rain. I tell you right now, the water's not subsiding really any at all. The water tables are so high right now. Where is that water going? Unless you can pump it somewhere away from your property, it's pretty much standing.
Well, this is actually going to be good for our fire season next spring. This
Agreed.
actually will be good. And at 7:57 p.m. on the 19th of September, we have now received 0.40 inches of rain at the Austin's Weather Station in Keystone.
Nice. Thank you again, Austin. Once again, this weather report brought to you by Austin's Weather Service out of Keystone Heights. Find AWS on Facebook and get a local forecast sent right to you. And now, it's our new fan favorite. Here is What's the Date? These are the headlines from the Bradford Telegraph in the middle of September of what year? Here we go. Mud flying over, Theresa Bog. How about that?
Yeah.
Mud flying over Theresa Bog. You know that, Dave? Monday, crowd opposes Sunday sales. And stormwater projects should help despite headaches. Was it September 2005, September 2007, or September of 2009? That answer is coming right up. Again, here are those headlines from the Bradford Telegraph in the middle of September of what year?
That's a good.
Mud flying over Theresa Bog. Monday crowd opposes Sunday sales.
Okay.
And stormwater projects should help despite headaches. Was it September 2005, September 2007, or September of 2009? That answer is coming up.
All right.
I'll tell you what, Mike. You want to elaborate on a couple of those?
Well, I can. If you,
Yeah, let's go and elaborate. You
All right,
got
Sure. So these headlines from this particular year in the month of September, the residents in Theresa were up in arms when Hunter's Mud Bog opened off of Southeast 16th Avenue and County Road 18. Now that was over 30 acres were cleared to allow for mudding and monster trucks, that sort of thing like that. Similar to what you see over in Putnam County at Hogwaller and other locations like that. But residents made their concerns well known over traffic, safety, and noise. And in fact, the entire project, much like the mud itself, never really gained any traction.
nice. Ba-ba-boom.
Stark City Commission saw a steady stream of people voicing their concerns over Sunday alcohol sales in the city of Stark in this particular year. The decision on a proposed moratorium, though, was tabled by the City Commission until the following month. And finally, many residents expressed concerns over this huge hole that was dug next to the library on Pratt Street in Stark, but it was to alleviate flooding. The city block-sized retention pond, which is still there
It is.
on the east side of the library, as well as stormwater work on Pratt Street, right at Orange Street, created major traffic concerns for residents in that area.
All right. Now, again, if you'll put that back up. Here we go. These are the headlines. He just gave you a little bit about it. Mud flying over Theresa Bog. Monday crowd opposes Sunday alcohol sales.
Bingo.
And stormwater projects should help despite headaches. Hey, was that, Dave? September 2005, September 2007, or September of 2009? That answer, ladies and gentlemen, is coming right up. You, the viewers, get a chance to play right along with us. And I'm going to start real quick with Austin Stevens. And what does he think that year was? 2005, 2007, or 2009?
Well, I guess 2007, even though I kind of suck at this game, to be honest.
That's all right. Well, hey, at least you're taking a guess. Hey, you can only suck, Austin, if you don't play. So at least you're playing. Don, what you got?
2009.
2009. Mama Stevens, what do you have?
What was the question?
What was it? 2005, 2007, or 2009?
Oh, Lord.
Let's say 2007.
2007. Dave Holland.
Wow, I was living on 16 and
Yeah.
my backyard was flooded.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess, it's just a guess,
Yeah.
but I'm going to go with 05.
You can go with 05. Michael?
I already know the answer, so I'm kind of. I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one.
I'm going to go. I like 05. Something tells me 07. But if I remember correctly, the alcohol sales, I don't think it's been going on for more than 15 years. So I'm going to go to either 2007, 2009. I'm going to go 2009. I'm going to say that was in 2009. All right. Who do you have on your watch party? Do you have anybody? And guesses if you got it. Dave? I'll tell you what, we'll go to Michael while you're pulling this up, Dave.
Well, just real quick.
Yeah,
here.
go through.
We got a lot of people. This is great.
Great, nice.
Nicole Hall has joined us out of Gainesville. Ernest Wigglesworth, retired paramedic. Good to hear from you.
Wigglesworth.
Ernest Wigglesworth.
Really?
Tremendous paramedic, outstanding man, and a very snappy dresser.
Did he play on a show called Family Affair?
No, but I do believe there was a family connection between him and some of the people.
Okay, that's great.
Joan Durden, my sister in Atlanta. Hello, Joan.
Joan, hello there. How are you?
Brandy Walls has joined us from Gainesville.
Well, great.
There you go, like that. Fred Bircher, Morgan Brown, Megan Hatch, partner over at the Bradford County Sheriff's Office, like that. Larry Beaton, retired Putnam County Sheriff's Office.
Larry Beaton?
Larry Beaton.
Beaton. Okay.
Dylan Rodgers, Division Chief of EMS here at Bradford County,
Really?
is on board with that. Paul
My
Bateman.
third cousin, by the way.
I was going to say, you got
Third cousin.
Paul Bateman has joined us. Blaine Willis, Bob McCullough, Zach Coffrin, Rob Bradley.
Wow.
Terry Anderson has joined us from the city of Stark. Brad Hollowell, of course, is there. Howard Pfeiffer, Flagler County.
Yeah,
one of
Howard
our
Pfeiffer.
viewers. Good to have
Yeah.
Howard on with us as well.
See you get the Michelle fight.
I believe there is some sort of connection, and if not, he probably wishes there were.
I bet.
Yeah. Jeremiah Foster joining us. Ben Carter, the chief
Ben
of fire.
Carter!
Bradford County's fire chief is on board.
Okay, stop right there. Ben, if you're listening in, love to have you as a guest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get you on. I would like for you to come on and talk what's going on with DMS, speak a little about the COVID thing.
Yeah.
So, Ben, reach out to me. Reach out to any one of us if you would love to be our guest.
We would love
So,
to have
yeah,
you
I
on.
absolutely would love to have you
And
on.
Terry Anderson says 2009.
2009.
She's a
All
city
right.
employee, so I'm willing to bet she might have the inside
She
track.
may have the inside track on this. Dave, who do you have over there?
Sharon Petiprim.
Oh, the
She's
bottle.
Oh,
Yeah, the bottle. All right, Sharon.
wow. Kevin Howe has.
Hey,
Kevin Howe.
Tuning
By
in.
the way, Kevin Howe is tuning in from Savannah, Georgia tonight. Him and his lovely wife went to Savannah to spend the weekend.
outstanding.
And,
He should. I told him to.
and Sharon picked 2005.
She picked 2005. Okay. What did Kevin pick?
He didn't say yet.
He hadn't said yet. Okay. Listen to who I got here. I've got Austin Stevens.
I know him.
Edna Flight. Raymond No from the Bradford County Food Pantry.
Yes.
Bradford County. He's probably going to go, oh, I'm going to shoot today. Mark Goody. Hello.
Hey, Mark.
Robert Griffiths. Evening, fellers. Go Knowles. That's exactly right. Big Josh Griffiths plays for the Knowles. By the way, you going to wait or you going to do it now?
It's part of my news segment. But if you really want some breaking news,
Yeah, let's get some breaking news.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Robert Griffiths would love to hear this.
all right. Well, we have some national breaking news involving the White House and other things like that. But in sporting news, this whole politically correct thing has come out, with the Washington Redskins and stuff like that. Well, now the latest target is the Florida State Seminoles. The rumor is that there's some discussion about having changed the name of the Seminoles. So after careful debate, the thought was that they should be called the Florida State Possums, primarily because they get killed on the road.
Oh my.
Boo on that one, Mike. Good grief, Mike. Dadgummit, Dragon Slayer. Damn it, Nelly. Oh, boy. All right. I got one guy. Get you coming up here the next hour.
I'm a Florida Gator fan, and no, I will never root for that team if that happens.
What, if they change it to the Possums? Oh, well, they better not.
No.
Janet Rolls on. Archie Waters is on. Vincent Tucker from Z and Tuck and Z out there in Phoenix, Arizona. Kevin Howe, like I said, is watching. By the time it dries up, I'll need to use the bush hog on the yard. You're exactly right, Randall.
Oh, yeah.
There's some properties I need. Mark Goody said 2009. Roy Jackson says 2005. Jason Vaughn says 2005. Put me in 2009 for the stick stuff, he said. That's Vincent Tucker. Raymond No, 05.
Okay.
Tammy Testone, and guess who Albie's watching? He says hello.
Albie.
Say hello, Albie.
Hey!
Or Dave, say hello to Albie.
Hello, Albie.
There you go. Jennifer Dodge Weller, she's on. Michael Heater, you get the thumbs down.
Oh.
But then you get a laughy face. You get a smiley face. Yeah, it was
That was
real
pretty
good.
good.
Yeah.
You gotta admit that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And by the way, Ben Carter says, absolutely, let's make it happen.
All right.
So, and he hasn't told us a year yet, but that's okay.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can get Ben on. We don't have anybody on Tuesday right now, but we got something I want to put out there. We don't have anybody on
Not
Tuesday, do we?
yet, no, but we'll make it
We'll
happen.
make make it happen at least for a segment or so.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Hey, today's date is it 2005? Now September, of course, 2005. September of 2007 or September of 2009. Drum roll, please, Mike.
All right, so the answer is pretty simple. It's the big mud bog controversy in Theresa, the big opposition to the Sunday alcohol sales, and the stormwater projects that took off on Pratt Street were related to the storms of 2005, but didn't really take effect. It wasn't really the big news of the headlines in September of 2007.
Oh! Two people. Who was that? Who said 07?
Right over there.
Austin was one. You never know good at this game, right? There was one other. Congratulations to you two. 2007 Wow.
Wow, that's great.
That's exactly right.
Speaking of the 2005 storm season, that was the craziest storm season. Wasn't even doing forecasting. I was a young little lad.
Yeah.
But this season is the one topping the cakes.
Yeah,
15 years later.
15 years later. Isn't that crazy, Austin, how that's
We had
happening
five-
in
we
years
had
of 5, right?
We had 5 storms within the Atlantic and the Gulf at the same time just about a week ago.
That is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, we did. We covered that.
Yeah, we definitely covered that as well.
All right.
Chilling at Bell Oaks Barn, Dwight Allen says, I know you are. He's at a wedding with his niece. So congratulations to them. Thank you for joining in. Well, I wouldn't have got this stitched up anyway, he says to you, Vincent. Nah. Yeah, and so probably that's a good guess, though.
But you have good taste. We'll give you that.
Yeah. Only
Easy.
if you don't like Mr. Roboto. Let us know. Yeah, no, I'm all right with. I just thought, honestly, getting on Sticks Kick here for a minute. I just thought it was one of the worst songs they made. I thought they were trying to convert over from that that early rock and roll day, trying to get into that techno stuff. You had
it was overly theatrical.
Cold.
That was a Dennis DeYoung thing.
Yes.
The band didn't agree with. That's what led to the breakup. So
yeah. Anyway, but I do love Sticks, and there's some great songs on there. I use a lot of their slow songs for my weddings and things like that. Great musical group and Sticks. Hey, yes.
Some local news coming up here. We can hit on that?
Yeah, I want to hit on the nicknames, though. I haven't forgot, I promise you. I promise you. Some of the nicknames we go by. Are you ready?
Here we go.
The Destroyers of Tyranny. The Kings of Information and News. The Counts of Economic Prosperity.
Absolutely.
The Princes of Keeping Law and Order.
Agreed.
Yeah, the Masters of Protecting the Nation and People of this great nation. Absolutely. The Sultans of Foreign and Domestic Terrorism. I like that. The New Freedom Fighters. The New Sons of Liberty. The DOR, the Defenders of the Republic. The Show Pony Express. And the New High Priest of the Church of the Painful Truth. Here we go. And guess what? Hey, Vincent Tucker says, I love the Mr. Roboto.
It's actually.
Well, of course you do, Vincent. You graduated in 1988. Who wouldn't like it? There you go. It was a little dancing. What do you got, Dave?
Sharon just tapped in, and she's a little, I don't want to say confused, but she said, why does David think I was a model?
Wow, that's a great question. Huh. Well, I guess I'll have to answer that, don't I? I used to know a girl almost with the same name, and she was a model. And it just struck me as to put 2 and 2 together, and it was close.
So every time you see her, it reminds you of that model friend.
When I see her name, yes. Yeah. It makes sense, right? Sharon, does that make any sense?
There you go, Sharon.
So, yeah, I was just trying to get her in there in the model thing, too.
Oh, there you go.
So, hey, she may know this other Sharon.
She's got a great personality. She can
What's her name?
Sharon Petterprim.
Petterprim.
Yeah.
This girl's name is not as close. Sharon Probst.
Yeah.
So you see the P.
I can see
that.
Sharon.
And I'm just trying. You know how we sort of make some funnies every once in a while?
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's funny, but I just want to say it reminds me of that other one.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go, Sharon.
There you go, Sharon. I needed to clear that up. She's probably
Sorry
going,
about that.
why does David think I'm a model? Well, hey, I like David for thinking he's a model. There you go. All right, what do we have?
Hey, some local news coming out here, filling in for Mitchell Gunter tonight. Clay County Sheriff's Office is mourning the loss of one of their own this week, Sergeant Eric Twisdale, who reportedly died from complications of the COVID virus. Tisdale joined the Sheriff's Office in 2004 and earned the agency's Life-Saving Award in 2014 after saving somebody from drowning. A year later, he was recognized by CCSO as Deputy of the Year after showing exceptional valor in catching 2 murder suspects during an active chase and carrying on like that. Sergeant Twisdale was also a supervisor of the crime scene unit, who served as team leader of the dive team, honor guard, and the crisis negotiation team for CCSO. Now, a student in Bradford County Middle School was told by their teacher earlier this week to take off a mask that had the phrase "I can't breathe, Black Lives Matter" on it. When asked to explain the decision, administrators referred to a passage from the school district's uniform section of its code of conduct, the policy that extends to face masks. They said, and I quote, "Insignias that are profane, offensive, suggestive, or advertise alcohol, tobacco, or illegal substances are not permitted." And administrators told reporters that they can limit attire deemed disruptive or could adversely affect classroom instruction. There's been a lot of debate on that particular topic. There's been other masks that have been worn that have also been dismissed as well. So it's not just limited to any type of BLM group or something like that one. There has been some others, but they're trying to be transparent,
Trying to be across
the board with everything like that. So they've actually done pretty well with that. Gotta love this one here. The People's Republic of Gainesville has announced that in order to maintain the health and safety during the COVID-19 pandemic, the city of Gainesville will host the upcoming Downtown Festival on Northeast 1st Street and the Hogtown Medieval Fair online.
Well, guess what? I'll be one that won't be watching that.
Yeah.
How about that?
So, turns out...
I'll be sleeping.
Yeah.
I'll be doing something else.
Well, it's interesting because it turns out that the staff and security event management platforms to be able to use online opportunities for vendors to show their wares in a virtual format. They're doing the same thing for the medieval fair. Again, this is a way to reduce the potential for people gathered up and carrying on and doing things like that one. I can't say that I think that it's a great idea, but it is what it is. It's all part of this. The new. I'm not saying new normal. I don't think there's anything normal about this, but that's what they're doing on that. Moving on to some other news in and around the country. Rochester, New York is reeling after a block party went awry, resulting in a gunfire that killed 2 people and 14 that were injured overnight last night. The block party got out of hand, law enforcement was called, and the crowd refused to disperse. Now, this is not uncommon and unsimilar to what happened in Williston. 2 weeks ago, when we had 2 block parties within a week of each other where there was a shooting. This, of course, takes it to a whole new level because of the number of people involved. The police are continuing to investigate. Alcohol was obviously a contributing factor, but there's still a lot of questions going on about this one. But again, it was related to a block party that broke out in this one. Wildfires continue to be a major problem. The fires have actually spread from the east side of Los Angeles down into the desert areas where homes continue to burn. The National Interagency Fire Network is reporting now that 42 new fires have broken out, but on the same line, the majority of those fires were quickly contained. There's still multiple of them that are burning out of control now. The most recent was a firefighter that was working a fire in Los Angeles suburb who died as a result of a fire that broke out during a gender reveal party that were using pyrotechnics. The family is looking at the possibility of facing charges as a result of this fire breaking out. Some breaking news coming out of Washington, D.C. when it was discovered that a letter addressed to President Trump was intercepted at a mailroom in Washington, D.C. This about a week ago. It's just now coming to light this afternoon. The letter, which appears to come from Canada, was addressed to President Trump and contained ricin. As most of everyone knows, ricin is an extremely toxic and poison that when contact with the skin immediately causes a neurologic shutdown and that shuts down the respiratory system. The CIA and the Secret Service are investigating where this would have come from. And finally, of course, as we talked about, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a justice for the Supreme Court, passed away from pancreatic cancer at the age of 87. There was already a lot of rumbling going on about whether the president will go ahead and try to appoint someone to go for review for a place in the Supreme Court, or if that should wait until after the election and the inauguration in January. Many of those that were pushing for this to happen 4 years ago, including Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that said, no, the president's in place. He needs to, if there's a passing, we need to fill that position. They're the same ones now that are reversing course and going, whoa, no, we have to wait.
Right.
Which, to be fair, it was the same thing with the conservative sides because the conservatives were trying to put the brakes on it.
That's right.
4 years ago, and now they're trying to push through. And again, that's all part of the politics deal. Several names that have been floated around. There's been a couple of congressional leaders that have been mentioned.
Right.
Now, the most prevalent and the most obvious or familiar
The
one. I guess
most,
it's
the known names.
the most well-known name that's
Right.
been thrown out there like that one that's been tossed around is Senator Ted Cruz. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. President Trump did announce late this afternoon that his decision for an appointment would be made by next week.
Wow. So, hey, acting quickly on these kind of things. And, those were some great stories right there, Mike. And, we try to hit on each and everything that we can find and think about. And if there's anything that you want us to try to answer or you want to try to have us find an answer for, all you got to do is what, Mike? Email us at where?
Hey, drop us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at onthespot32091@gmail.com. Again, onthespot32091@gmail.com. And we will get your story researched and on the air for you.
Hey, again, welcome in On the Spot with David Rodgers. To my left, Mr. Austin Stevens, who just gave us a great weather report. Over here in the back, producing the show, Super Dave Holland. Got to commend him on getting us back online, getting us back up live. Did a great job on that. My co-host right here, our director, usually in the back trying to keep things prepared and going. But right now, I'm minus two co-hosts. So the Dragon Slayer himself, Michael Heater's filling in for Mitchell and Byron. Mitchell and Byron out, got some things they've got to take care of. John Probst down in Tampa, Florida, handling some things down there as well. So, again, welcome into the show. Got a couple other things I want to go over before we do end the show. First and foremost, I'll talk sports here in just a little bit, but I want to talk about something that is going on as far as our nation and the presidential election and the general election that's coming up in November. And Mike, I just, as I sit here and listen to the Democratic National Convention, the Republican National Convention, and just some of the things, some of the speeches, some of the town hall meetings that these guys are having, I've got a little bit of an issue.
Okay.
And it's with both candidates. And to be fair, and that is that, I hear them talking about different things and, what their platforms are. And they both sound similar in a way. And I personally think that Joe has taken some of Donald's stuff, President Trump, I want to call him Donald, President Trump stuff, incorporated in, like I know him personally. I wish. Excuse me. Yeah. So, and taking and incorporated his platform. But what I have not heard is, and I want our viewing audience to get in on this. What I haven't heard is some of the key issues that is affecting our great country today and what's going on in our world today. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. For me, I have not, and maybe not into depth. I know maybe I've heard a candidate here say that, but I haven't seen both of them address this, like the economy. That's very important to me. I know that President Trump has said some things about it. I really haven't heard much on the Biden side about it. That's something that's very important to me. That's a very important issue. But I haven't heard these candidates break down these particular items. The other one is the unemployment rate. What's going to happen in the next 10 years with how are we going to supply ourselves with energy, the environment, schools. I haven't seen these guys break down subjects like that. And I wanted to get you guys' take and our viewing audience take on that as well, because if I'm voting for a candidate, of course, I want him to also answer what I'm thinking, what's important to me. Now, you say, well, maybe he doesn't know what, but those issues and those topics are out there. I guarantee you, those topics and those subjects are getting told to the president and to President wannabe Joe Biden. Let me put it that way. And I really haven't heard him address those in particular. So what I want to do is I want to go around the table here. And I want to ask Dave. Me and Dave had a little talk this morning. And what's important to you, Dave? You as a voter, if you're going to the general election and voting in November, which you should be, and let me preface to say this. Go vote. It doesn't matter. I can't tell you who to vote for. You vote for who you think is the best candidate and that will do the best job for you.
Correct.
And that is where I'm going with this because, again, that was just some of the things that were on my mind, and I really haven't heard it addressed. Mm-hmm. Now, I've heard overlays of some of this stuff, but I haven't heard, like, what is the game? What is
the game plan?
Yeah,
the
what
details.
what is Biden's plan on the economy? I haven't heard him break it down and say, this is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. This is what I'm going to do. Have y'all? I may be wrong here. I have not heard that. Yeah. President Trump either. He has talked about it, but he hasn't broke out a strategic plan. Maybe it's not the time to do that. I don't know. But I want to hear what is going on as far as that's concerned. And I'll go to you in just a second, Mike. I want to know what you think, Dave. What is important to you when you see both of these candidates and what I've just said? First of all, do you agree with me what I just said about that?
I absolutely agree with you. I'm feeling it like everybody else.
Right.
One of the most important things to me, and I think to a big majority of the country, is health.
Yeah.
Health. And all I hear is, I'm going to fix the health problem in this country.
Yes.
Okay, how?
Yeah, exactly. That's my problem.
Give me a couple ideas of what you are going to do to help our health program better.
Right.
Don't go from that to something else that has nothing to do with health.
Right.
Just like to see a little bit more detail. Health, our economy.
Right. What's the future for our energy plans in the next 10 years?
There is a list about a page long of what this country is built of and what needs to be worked on.
Right. And Michael, I'll go to you next, but I'll say this. Could a part of the problem be, and I was just getting ready to reference what Mark Duty said, and great point, by the way, is it because they aren't in debates? There's not a mediator there asking these specific questions. There's not a lot of debates going on. So these guys aren't bringing it themselves up to the forefront as it would be in a debate. Hey, you remember those debates 4 years ago and 8 years ago? I mean, that moderator brought it to each one. What do you think? What do you see ourselves with energy progression in the next 10 years? And those guys answered it. So could it be that there's not a lot of debates going on?
You know, I think there's some of that. But if I'm running for president, I am going to want you to know what my concerns are. I want you to understand where I'm coming from.
Right. I agree. Mike?
Now, I totally agree with that one. And what's interesting about it is that I have a very strong opinion on three of the topics that you hit on.
Right.
Number one, with unemployment. You have a candidate who's running, who's been in a position for 8 years prior, who now is talking about change when his previous boss, all he preached on was change. I didn't see any changes then. Then you have a current president who came in, dropped the unemployment rate, got people back to work, lowest unemployment rate for African Americans, lowest unemployment rate for Hispanics. Had it not been for the pandemic, we would probably still be at the lowest unemployment rate in the history of our nation. So I don't really need to hear what the president's going to say. I know what he's been doing. I know what he's going to do again once we get back on track. Biden, I can't even follow him if he was like placing a to-go order, let alone trying to explain how he's going to do unemployment. Number two, I am a huge pragmatic when it comes to climate change. And let me clarify what I'm saying here. I strongly believe in the environment, and I think that we're on the right track with some of the environmental things that happened previously. President Trump has made a reversal on some of the things that's happened. Do I agree with all of them? No, I don't.
Right.
But I do know that he's trying to look long term when it comes to the economic stability for oil, coal, natural gas, solar, wind, and even nuclear. With that being said, I'm not a huge proponent on wind power simply because of the amount of energy and effort it takes to produce and maintain turbines. Solar power, a little bit more cost effective and seems to be working.
Right.
But he's trying to look out for the American worker, whether it be automotive, mining, industry, whatever it is. So he's got the mines opening back up in West Virginia. He's got steel workers going back to work because we're doing American made. And I think, again, he's already set these plans into motion. I don't need you to tell me what you're going to do. I already know he's doing it. I think the
But do
pandemic
you?
is put it back. Yeah,
But
he
do
really
you?
has. I do. Because you look at the unemployment rate prior to the pandemic, okay,
Okay.
dropping like it was. There was a lot of issues, and we are still starting to see, even now, we are starting to see the unemployment rate starting to drop. Not as quickly as it did before, but you are starting to see this drop. My concern with the unemployment rate is you're going to reach a point where it's going to level off, and you're still going to have issues of, is it the health care of miners, because that's a hazardous job as it is in this one. How are we going to take care of these employees of these private companies? Yes, the companies are going to make money because we like to buy American, but we've still got the influence from China, Japan, India, Russia, and other ones that are going to try to get into the market, which is part of the free trade deal that he's been negotiating and trying to get things to happen with, great success with NAFTA and everything that happened with Canada and Mexico.
Right.
And I really like what he's done now with this, when he's negotiated this accord with Israel and a few other companies in the Middle East, because what he's doing now, I believe, is that he's actually laying the groundwork to negotiate for more oil and more trade with the Arab Emirates and with these other countries, now that he's been able to broker a peace deal with Israel. So I think that what they're trying to do now is he's thinking long term. He's looking down the road and says, okay, yes, we're trying to bring stability to the Middle East now, but in the long term, it's going to bring profit and income to the United States.
Well, I can tell you that Middle East deal, I'm glad that you brought that up because I thought that was brilliant on the president right there. Did you hear the speech the other night the president made?
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best speeches I've ever heard. I will say that President Trump really brought it hard and heavy, and negotiating and bargaining this deal with the Middle East, and with the peace deals over with Israel and United Arab Emirates, and he hasn't stopped there. There's some others to go, and I'll tell you what, he's going to be a magician if he can get the Palestinians and Israelis together. And I think he's working on that.
I think he is working on that one. You have to remember, this is the man, and again, he's approaching it from a very unique standpoint. All of the previous administrations, even with Reagan, and even the peace accords that was signed by President Carter back in the 70s between Egypt and Israel, that was a brokered deal between politicians and government officials like that one. Trump is coming at it from a business standpoint. He's trying to demonstrate to these folks, look, peace is not just good for your people. It's good for business.
Yeah.
I love what he's trying to do here because he's actually coming in through almost like a back doorway. Mm-hmm. And again, ultimately, it's going to benefit the United States to maintain peace and stability in the Middle East. And he's just coming at it from a different standpoint than previous administrations have done, which I think is great.
Just like the oil, when Saudi put all that oil out there.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Was that a brilliant strategic move by the president?
Oh,
That was awesome.
They flooded it because they didn't think the United States was going to buy any of this stuff up. And all of a sudden, President Trump goes, okay. He pulled that money from the wall money and bought all that oil up. If you remember correctly, barrels of oil were in negative.
That's correct.
Isn't that crazy? We bought up all that oil supply. Very smart business guy. There's no doubt. And let's face it. This whole thing, the United States, the world, it is a business. It's a business.
It is a business.
It takes economic drive to do all this. And I can tell you right now, if the United States is not in this game and playing in this game, it's bad for everybody. What you just said, it's just not bad for us. It's bad for everybody.
Yeah, it is bad for business.
It is bad for business.
It's worldwide business.
Now, I don't want to play with China. I don't want China to be in the game. I don't want North Korea to be in the game.
Russia.
And I don't want Russia to be in the game. Because right now, I'm telling you, I don't care what they say, what they do. Oh, we're your friends, Mike. We're your friends. Put that knife in your back. And that's the game that they want to play. They are a communistic country and communistic countries. And they're just waiting. They're just waiting for us to crumble.
Sure.
And as soon as we crumble, they're going to try to come in here and take this over. And then it's going to be another war just like it was before. And I can tell you right now, that is something that nobody is going to want to see, because that will definitely be a bloodbath for sure. Because there's people like us that are sitting in this room that ain't going to put up with it. I can tell you that right now.
Right.
So, but just get back to the breakdown of issues.
Well, and then the other parts of this thing, and again, to wrap this up real quick and kind of put a bow on it like this one, and because we're talking international, that from a domestic standpoint, and I alluded to the climate.
Right.
I'm not going to say that global warming is a farce. I don't believe that. I believe that it is a genuine concern. I really do. However, I tend to look at it a more scientific approach and a more pragmatic approach. Okay, if you want to blame the wildfires on global warming, you can do that. I blame it on mismanagement of prescribed burning and wildfire mitigation projects, stuff that has been done for hundreds of years until the environmentalists got involved and we lost control of how to maintain and properly care for forest lands. That's why we're burning California. That's why we're burning Oregon. That's why we're burning Washington. That's why we're burning Idaho. We have lost the sight of what it takes to do proper land management. There's a reason why the Bureau of Land Management exists in the first place. This is the reason why. Now, go back in here. Well, Michael, the ice caps are melting. Yeah. Every 1,000 years or so, the ice caps melt.
Right.
That is to be expected.
That is to be expected.
Okay, so while I think that there's a global warming thing, do I think that pollution has played a role in our overall temperature? Sure, it does. Absolutely.
Sure.
I think that we do need to take care of our planet. I mean, we need to watch what we do. We need to reuse, recycle, and everything like that one. But we also, if you're going to put forth the effort to sit here and talk the story, then let's go back in history. Let's look at what's worked and start doing it. Don't just sit here and say, well, it's global warming. But you're not going to fix global warming. What you can do is fix the problems that were created by mismanagement of land, water, air quality, everything like that we shot off into a wrong direction years ago. We need to get back on track with that one. That is how you manage emergencies. Again, my business is emergency management. That's what I do. I look at from a Austin does the weather stuff like that one. I look at it from a slightly different perspective. But I deal with mitigation. What can we do to prevent the flooding of Sampson River? What can we do to prevent the wildfires of Santa Fe Swamp? What can we do to prevent train derailments and chemical spills in Bradford County? That's what I do. On a global scale, we as a nation and we as a planet need to get back to where we were years ago, which was taking care of the planet that takes care of us.
Department of Interior is all I got to say to you.
That's exactly right.
Mismanaged Department of Interior. I read something where they've embezzled more than $100 million, and they don't know where this money has gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's $100 million that we could be paying to guys like you that are thinking outside the box, planning on how we can prevent stuff like this, giving forestry people raises. Things like that.
We're paying for projects that would mitigate these wildfire threats.
Yeah.
Prescribed burning in March, April, and May would prevent the wildfires from breaking out in June, July, and August that we see ravaging California. In fact, I will tell you this. In the first 9 months of 2019, there was 4.3 million acres burned in the United States, the western United States. This year, the first 9 months of 2020, we're approaching 8 million acres. It has everything to do with the mismanagement of how to take care of prescribed burning and wildfire mitigation projects, land clearing operations. That is where we really need to focus. Not sit here and blame climate change and try to come across with some sort of political game on how to win an election based on something you have no control over.
Yeah, it's not political.
Political, no. Mark Rudy says, maybe we'll hear their long-term policies in the 3 debates scheduled if they actually have debates. And that was my question.
I can't wait.
Right now, I can't wait for them. I really can't.
Are they
But
going
is
to
it
put that
gonna
on
happen?
I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening.
Are they going to put that on pay-per-view?
Well, I'll pay for it if that's the case, because I would really love to see this.
I can assure you someone's going to come down with a COVID exposure.
Yeah, and Vincent Tucker led right into what you were just saying and what you were just saying. Biden embarrasses himself every time he does a speech, either playing music and saying that he would be president if he had their talent, or he loses his thoughts in mid-word, not even in his sentences, and tries to continue making no sense out of anything he says, and calls the Constitution, what does he call it? A thingy.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I've heard him say that. The Constitution's a thingy? Oh, man.
Well, you know, all
Even,
right.
look, listen, even if I didn't know who I was going to vote for, and I know my history, and I grew up learning history, to call it a thingy, I would be going, ooh, I'm not so sure I want to, even if I didn't like the other person either, I'm not so sure I'd want to vote for this one.
Sure.
You know what I mean? The other one would have to say something dumber than that.
Not much.
But not, yeah, and that's exactly
Not much
right.
You can say that it's dumber than that.
Yeah. When he tried to recite it, the man is unfit and a dumb blank. Dumber. Okay, there we go. Dumb Jack.
And unfortunately, I mean, even and it's a wide variety of topics. I mean, I've heard him speak on the conflict in the Middle East, and he gets Iran and Iraq confused.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the same guy who went before out campaigning that he was running for the Senate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know.
Well, you know, a lot of people will watch the little clips that they put out that show all that stuff.
Right.
But how many people really sit down and watch
Well, and that.
the speech?
See, and the problem I have with that
Yeah.
is that the speeches they're written on a teleprompter.
Right.
And Trump's the same way. Now, when Trump goes off the cuff, you're like, oh.
You know what he does. Yeah.
Oh,
You'll know what he
You know what
does.
he does. So I agree with Dave. I can't wait for the debates, if indeed they
Yes.
happen,
Yeah.
because you're not going to be scripted. It's not going to be teleprompted. You're going to be able to look at the candidate and go, okay, he's flying by the seat of his pants, or he's got a plan.
And that was my preface to this whole question that I asked today. And I'm glad that Mark Udi brought that up about the 3 debates they're supposed to have.
Right.
Is it going to happen? I don't know. If it does, I hope it does, because this is what me and you were talking about, where we're going to get those questions answered. Some moderator, I don't know who it's going to be, probably some news person from wherever is going to moderate. I wish. Hey, let me do it. I'd love to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, we'd love to do it. But some news person is going to wind up doing that. He's going to ask specific questions, and I want to see how they answer. And I think Trump, like Mike says, he's been doing this for 4 years now. He knows how this country runs. He knows how it operates. He knows what this country needs to do
That's right.
to move forward.
He wasn't in government for 40
Years. Correct.
trying to pull this off.
Right.
He recognized it from a business standpoint from New York City and said,
Yeah.
okay, this works, this doesn't. And that's another thing, too. They gripe about it. Oh, he filed bankruptcy. Yeah, everybody trips and falls. But
Yeah.
boy, he learned lessons out of this to make his other programs a success.
I tell you, the individual that is going to host the debate,
Right.
he's going to have to ask some really hard questions.
That's correct.
Bring
Yeah.
it on. He's going to have to be a master
Of course.
at what he's doing.
Yes, and probably some elderly news guy that's been around a while. You know what I mean? That isn't in, and maybe I'm in today's media regime, because today's media regime is so biased for both parties.
I would suggest that somebody from Sky News or
Yeah.
BBC.
Correct.
possibly
Somebody
do that.
like that.
Did you have a question or just something like that?
How many bankruptcies versus successful companies?
Well, that's a good question.
That is a very good question. I
Yeah.
know that the bankruptcies were the minority, but as far as actual numbers, I have to look that up. But I will find out.
All right, I'll throw you something else. Go ahead.
The whole thing I put in a nutshell to me. Do I want a man that's been holding office in our government for 50 years and have not seen any positive change versus a businessman that got into our government and that in less than 3 years turned our nation around and had us with, like you said, the lowest unemployment, made massive reform to our nation, made our country America again.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the key components is that, to quote a campaign slogan from a certain sheriff that we know and who signs my paycheck. I'm concerned more about results, not rhetoric. And I'm getting results from one and rhetoric from another. And for me, and people sit there and say, well, how can you support him? I don't care what he says, and I don't really care what he tweets. I wish he wouldn't, but that's not my call.
Part of the man.
But in the end of the day, I want results, not rhetoric.
I'm sitting here looking at that flag flying above you and thinking about everything that she stands for.
Yep.
And my brothers and sisters that have fought and died for that flag.
Right.
And I watched our president hug that flag.
Yep.
And people pick on him for that.
Yep.
The man loves America. He wants her back.
Yeah, and as
Look
we
around at the nation, the uprising from the followers.
you know why right now they are on President Trump right now?
8:45.
And maybe it's a scheme.
Could be.
Why has he not handled? This is the question I got asked. Why has he handled the Antifa and the BLM actions that are
Because
going
it's
on?
not his place.
And that's exactly right.
Exactly right.
But
it's not the president.
it is not the president.
He's not an authoritarian. He's not the dominator that the press is making him out to be.
No.
He's not a dictator.
Right.
This starts at a city level to a state level.
Right.
If they do not control it, then the federal government can be asked to step in.
Right.
He does not say, "Oh, I'm going to go do this."
That's
It
right.
doesn't work like that, and he knows that.
Right. But now they're jumping on him because people think it's gotten out of hand, which it has a little bit. And now he hasn't stepped in. Is it all? And again, I'll leave it here. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. Is this a back political scheme that maybe he has a plan later on down the line?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe as soon as this election's over, let me just say that he's going to bust all this in the rear. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is what I keep hearing from some of the other side that I work with is he hasn't done anything. That's not his state to do anything with. That is the governors of those states. That is the city officials of those particular cities. Has it gotten out of hand? Yes. In some cities. Because they let it.
Right. And let it.
Now, you know what? Now they won't help.
Right.
Oh, I can't clean it up. You let it get out of hand. Why did you let it go so long? And now that President Trump and his staff is not moving forward in the manner they think should be moving forward, now he's a bad guy because he's not cleaning up a mess that wasn't even started by him.
Let's put it into a local perspective. If we had an Antifa BLM attack in the city of Stark, ultimately, who would be the one who would call the shots? That calls on John Holman as the city manager, and the city commission and the mayor.
Yeah.
If it gets out of hand, it falls on the county manager, Rachel Groden, and Sheriff Smith.
Yeah.
If it gets out of hand, it goes to Governor DeSantis.
Right.
If the president was to send troops into Bradford County, do you not think that Ron DeSantis would have a fit about it?
Oh, absolutely. I know how Ron DeSantis is, and I guarantee he'd have a fit.
So it does. It falls back to the local level. Whether it's a police action or something like that, but ultimately, and that's what I appreciate about the president, is that he recognizes states' rights, he recognizes the local level and the local needs, and then he works with that. When FEMA's activated for these hurricanes that's been affecting us like that, he's not going in there gangbusters. He's like, no, we've declared a presidential declaration for disaster. These are the resources we are making available to you. It is up to your local and your state to forward it in like that one. That's what I like about the way that it's done. And that's the way it should be done.
Yeah, it is, and you're exactly right. Let me get to a couple of comments. Say hello to Mitchell Gunner, everybody.
Hey,
Mitchell Gunner.
He says it's packed at the show in Gainesville, that car show. He went to the one in Gainesville.
Good.
That's great.
That's great. Renee Stegall Shaw, I'm glad that you're on. Hope everything went well for you. I know we talked a little bit. I hope the cleanup efforts are going well for everybody over there. I'll pray for those guys and hope they can get everything restored. I hear people starting to get power back. Some things are coming back. You heard Austin say with the weather, it's going to stay clear for them a little bit so they can do some cleanup efforts. So that's going to be a great thing. But she says it has to operate as a business or we've got no GDP. Does anybody know what GDP stands for? Gross domestic product.
Exactly.
Trump knows how to raise that, and we definitely need that.
Yeah.
Mark Udy's watching again. Roy Jackson. Raymond knows says Biden will get crushed in the debate. He'll be mumbling all kinds of nonsense. I have no doubt. Chris Wallace will ask the questions on first debate. I don't mind Chris Wallace. I know Chris Wallace. Do you have a problem with Chris Wallace?
Not really, no. I think whoever they get now, there's going to be some bias, especially depending on previous exposures and it's not that one. But I think realistically, who hosts and who moderates is not so as important as the questions, because they can't deviate from the questions. They can't deviate from the time. They do, it's going to be very blatant, and that's going to throw the whole thing out. So I think Chris Wallace is a good choice.
I think Chris Wallace is a good choice. I don't mind Chris Wallace.
Got to be fair and balanced on that.
Yeah, and you do, and from both candidates, and that's exactly right. No matter who yes, it does. Just like I want to bring up something that we're trying to get on our show, and I know we're getting close on the hour here. Hello, Mary. How are you doing? A bankruptcy isn't good, but it isn't necessarily bad either. Sometimes it's a strategic business move.
Right, and
it is. Very good call, Renee. Yeah. He's letting them eat themselves. Yep. And that's what we sort of talked about. And you're exactly right. Hey, they're just like carnivores, aren't they? Love that meat. They keep eating. And that, like she said, he's just letting them eat themselves. And if he gets reelected, I guarantee you, here, right after that, the hammer does come down. Somehow or another. I don't know how, but I guarantee you the hammer comes down.
Absolutely.
Rod, Sally Rod. We never lost power. A few flickers. She said she never lost power in Pascagoula, Austin.
Yeah, it hit Gulf Shores, Louisiana, or not Louisiana, Alabama, excuse me, and went over Pensacola, Florida. And Pensacola was in the eye wall of Sally for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Bill Edgerton, who watches our show,
yes.
I don't think he's on
I don't think he's on
because he's probably still dealing with it.
Yeah.
Bill's neighborhood took a pretty devastating hit, as did the Air Force Base there. So a lot of repairs underway. Bill, if you are on and I missed you, which you probably
I would usually see him all
here too. Yeah, I usually do like that one. Bill, if you're on, dude, man, thoughts and prayers for you.
To everybody over there.
Listen, dude, seriously, if you need help, I mean,
we're here for you.
We're here for you.
Let's see. Cassidy Udy said, Lashana Tova, everyone. Okay. Donald Stevens says, Samuel Jackson for moderator. Hey, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that.
Get that beat button going.
Hey, and look here. Hey, I don't have a problem with Denzel Washington being one.
I have no problem with that at all.
No,
Morgan Freeman.
With Morgan, yes. Hey, can you imagine the Equalizer when he's asking the questions and I was like, kicking that watch? Equalizer time. That would be awesome. Austin called it exactly right. Sally made a hard right, but took a day to do it. Right. So nice call, Austin. She loves you.
Oh yeah.
Renee does, huh?
Messaging back and forth.
Yeah, Renee, good friend of mine in Pascagoula. She's a great classmate as well. That's Happy New Year. All right, Mr. Udy. All right, here we go. Let's wrap it up. Couple of things. Yeah. Bradford football.
Yes.
Yeah, we took one in the shorts last night. Went up to Jacksonville, University Christian, a good football team, beat us 33-22. It was 33-8 there. Thought the game was really out of hand. Bradford come back and scored a couple of late touchdowns. Seen some good things with the football team. We're now 1-2. But senior running back Eric Smith had 15 carries for 115 yards and a touchdown. Freshman running back Willie Pollard had 3 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown. Nice run on that touchdown, by the way. Freshman quarterback Dejon Shanks was 3 for 8 for 36 yards. Didn't really have time to throw the ball. Ran the ball a little bit. A lot of mishandled snaps, gentlemen, if y'all heard in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all heard in the game. A lot of center exchanges wasn't very good, and we lost a couple of fumbles there, and I'll get to that here in just a second. Sophomore wingback wide receiver Gavin Cook. Y'all know his daddy Jeff Cook. 5-yard TD run. Nice play by him. It was in on several tackles on defense. Senior wide receiver defensive back Adante Balfour had the first 2-point conversion, and he made a diving interception. Beautiful interception. After we turned the ball over, they came back the next play, threw the ball, and he made a diving interception. Great play by Dante Balfour, Division I prospect by most schools. Sophomore wide receiver Khalil Cummings. He had 1 reception for 36 yards. Total yards, it wasn't that bad. Bradford had 272 yards. University Christian had 319. Not that bad of a yard disparity there. Penalties, here we go. BHS, 10 for 110 yards. Dave, that's like giving University Christian, which doesn't need any help, 11 free first downs.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's exactly what it is.
Might as well give him a touchdown, right? That's 110 yards is pretty much the length of football field. It is.
Which is pretty much what happened because
Yeah.
the scores they got.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, from listening to the game, by the way, great call.
Appreciate it.
Man calls a great game.
Appreciate it.
I think and this is my opinion on this one, I think that what you got was, I honestly believe that University Christian got in our heads. I really do. And I think that if part of it was preparedness, part of it was execution, but I think a lot of it was just the fact that, you know what, we kind of got caught up in the mindset of, oh, it's University Christian. It doesn't matter, folks. Any given Friday, we could have beaten them.
Absolutely could have.
Honestly, to be honest, and I may get in trouble for this one, and I'll apologize to, well, nobody. We beat ourselves in this game.
We did. And here we go. Let me give you the disparity. University Christian, 5 penalties for 65 yards. So if you start balancing out those yards and penalties, you can see, you can see what the score disparity is. So turnovers, here we go. Bradford 3, University 1. So they took 3 turnovers and basically put them into 3 touchdowns, and that's the difference in the ballgame right there. Look, they played a great game. I thought the defense pretty much hung in there. You can tell, there was no doubt. You can tell the way those University Christian boys were. They're very much athletes. There's no doubt. You can tell they're well disciplined. They're well coached, running in and out. They would hustle up on plays. It was just like a well-known machine, like y'all were talking about the Baker guys. Yeah. This looked like the same way. Honestly, Dave, Michael, Austin, I don't know how they lost to Clay 33-12. That shouldn't have happened. Wow. But that was the first game of the season, trying to get the jitters out, work the bugs out. And guess what? They had a great opportunity to do it. They had a week to prepare and had a great opportunity to do it against Bradford. And their coach had a great game plan against our offense. And look, it's not like we didn't move the ball. We did. We moved the ball. We went down there and scored. Just gave up too many penalties and too many turnovers. Now, we've got to go on the road again. The next 2 games are going to be on the road as well. Going over to Live Oak, play Live Oak Swanee. Played, by the way, 4-time state defending champ Madison County to a 32-14 game. Y'all going to say, man, well, they got beat by 3 touchdowns. It was 20-14, gentlemen, late into the third quarter until Madison County put that game away. Wow. So we're going to have our hands full over there. That ought to be a good ball game. Yeah. If we play right and we can do the right things, we can go in there and win that game. We're 2-2 at that point. Then we got to go back on the road over to Boot Hill and play Madison County, and that's going to be a tough chore. Even if we lose that game, if we play tight, we're 2-3, and the next 4 or 5 games, brothers, are at home.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, and that's where that 7-3 record that we all said could happen. They'll have to run the table on the back end, but they can do it, especially if they start playing. We've got all games on the road. You should be warmed up. Shouldn't lose any continuity. We're going to get players back. Pedro Carter will actually come back here in a couple of games. He is really the actual starting quarterback, but they had to play this freshman until he got back. I don't know what the quarterback decision will be. I don't know what Coach Tomlinson's going to do. That'll be up to him. But Pedro Carter will get in the game. He's a heck of an athlete, and you'll see some differences. That won't happen, though, until the back half of the season. So we'll see what happens there. Great game by our young Bradford Tornadoes. If you heard the call last night, as Mike did and several others, it was freshman this, sophomore that. Yeah. We got a very, very young team. 7 seniors, I'm telling you. They played a wonderful ball game.
And I'm really excited because, again, we said this at the beginning of the season. We said this after the Baker game. We said this after the Keystone game, during the post game. Regardless of how the scores come out, the experience that these younger players are getting is phenomenal. And I really do believe that we're only going to get better. The key that we have to focus on going into Swanee and then into Madison is a KISS method. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Let's focus on ball management. Let's focus on time management, and let's focus on discipline. I think if we can really don't worry about the big plays. Just stick with what works. Stick with a good ground, good option perhaps. But man, if we can cut back on these penalties and we can cut back on these fumbles, I'm telling you, we can hang in here. And that 7-3 record is not out of reach.
That's not out of reach. Hey, another thing that I seen last night, got to do a better job of, and you talked about it a little bit. You got to wrap up and tackle somebody.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Oh my gosh, these guys were. You can't just. Hey, they're trying to tackle them at their feet. They're just breaking through those tackles. You've got to tackle somebody. Their running backs. We wouldn't even hit them until they were 3, 4, 5, and 6 yards into the secondary. You have got to stop those tackles right there. So stop those ball carriers right there. But hey, enough of that. Hey, they're going to go do some things. We'll talk about them more on Tuesday. College football's going on. SEC starts playing next week. We're going to have some good games to see starting next week.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I am as well. ACC is going to kick up their schedule more. You're going to see a lot more football games. And the way that this conference-on-conference thing is, Mike, I love it because they're going to get to play each other, and it's all going to be good teams. There's no more cupcakes on the schedule.
No,
There's no more cupcakes on the schedule.
No, it's put up or shut up time starting this Saturday.
Yeah, starting this Saturday, and that's exactly the ACC and the Big 12 has already started, but you'll see a lot more games coming up this week. Mitchell Gunner said, "Oh, wait a minute." Austin talking. Okay, that's Happy New Year. Yes, it's one of the holiest of Jesus' holidays. It's our New Year. Cassidy Udi said. Mitchell Gunner, the new speed limit signs for the bypass will go up in the next couple of weeks. Outstanding. I'm glad you reminded me of that, brother.
And again, kudos to Mitchell Gunner for outstanding effort. His ongoing passionate and consistent effort in making sure that he keeps the community safe. I mean, Mitchell's the reason why we have a reduction in traffic crashes.
Yes.
There were 100 in County Road 18. He's the reason why we have reductions at Dairy Road. There's 144th, the project he's working on for the cracker. He's working on that one.
Yeah.
Bypass.
He's working some stuff down 16 as well. We talked about he's all over it.
Great job. As always, Mitchell, thank you for everything that you do.
Raymond, 187 families served yesterday at the Bradford County Food Pantry. Still looking for a few extra volunteers on Fridays. Yeah. So anybody wants to volunteer for the Bradford County Food Pantry, get a hold of Raymond Noe and the team. Esther Hardy, Mr. Hardy. Who else we got? The Builders, Betty Warren. Yep. Any of those. Vincent Tucker. I'll be on the Mississippi Gulf Coast from October 20th to the 27th. Visiting Pascagoula, Moss Point, Ocean Springs, Gulfport, Biloxi, Wiggins, Collins, Hattiesburg. Looking forward to being home for a bit. Vincent, I wish I could join you on that road trip. Sounds like fun. Sounds like all of our stomping grounds. Used to go to all these places. Probably had a girlfriend or two there in each one of those places. Ooh, I bet. Yeah,
you really went there, didn't you?
Yeah, I went there.
Really
there. Anyway,
boy.
Raymond. Oh boy. Raymond says, "Nice job, Mitchell." Devin Wheeler's watching. Well, that would overlap somewhat with Fair Week, except they canceled it. Yeah, they canceled. Have they canceled the Fair Week yet as well?
They have not canceled the
because
Fair
ours is not till March.
That is correct, and we are still looking. Pam Whittle has informed me that they are still planning on kicking off the spring events, starting with the Chamber of Commerce dinner at the end of this year. Again, subject to change. We will find out. We'll keep everybody in the loop as we get the information. We'll pass it along.
Renee Stegall, I will be there for my daughter's wedding. This is Vincent Tucker and visiting some family. So congratulations to your daughter, Vincent Tucker. Glad that she's getting married, and hopes that she hope she loves the guy. I'm sure he does. Yeah, that would not be good, would it? Vincent Tucker, I know Vincent already. Vincent will put a boot in his tail. So I already know Vincent there. So, hey, it's a great show tonight. I know I wanted to talk about candidates that we wanted to get on the show. I guess it's a quick way to mention it. We would like to start having some debates right here on the Spot with David Rodgers. There's not a lot of open debates going on within our community or within our region. And I've had a lot of people call and tell me and message me and say, hey, can we get some debates on the air? Absolutely. Would love to entertain it. I've already talked with all you guys, to include Byron and Mitchell and everybody. We're like, yes, we would like to do that. We would moderate it right here on the Spot with David Rodgers. We will prepare the questions. We will all take a look at the questions, make sure it's fair to everybody. Like to have 2 candidates at a time. I know the one that really everybody wants to hear is the superintendent of schools. Mm-hmm. That's very important to a lot of us that live here. Mm-hmm. We have children in school, or we know children that are in school. So I know Stacy Creighton has already reached out to me. I don't know if she's on tonight, Stacy. Absolutely. You can come on and be part of the debate as well. She said if we could do something maybe at her house where we did like a candidate interview, of course, we'll do that as well. So I'm going to extend the invitation to Will Hartley as well. Again, one more time. Will, please get a hold of me. I'm trying to reach you. I don't want to act like I'm pressuring you, but I'm getting a lot of requests for this debate to happen. So if you can reach out to me, Michael Heater, Mr. Dave Holland, Byron Bagwell, or Mitchell Gunner, or send us something on the spot 32091@gmail.com. Please do, so we can go ahead and get this arranged. The sooner the better. I would love to go ahead and do this. I'm sure our viewing audience would love to hear this as well. So reaching out to you 2 guys first. Also, the invitation goes to Lisa Alvarez Rogers and Denny Thompson. I'd love to have y'all 2 as well for the clerk of the court position. Mm-hmm. Please email us. I actually talked to Denny a little bit when we had the rib cook-off. He said he would be interested. I do believe Lisa would be interested. I've talked to her as well. So I'd like to extend the invitation out there to you guys as well. Please let me know. You can call me first. However you need to get a hold of any of us to do that so we can go ahead and put it together. And the last one I would like to do, and I know there's several others, so I don't want to forget anybody. But Kat Kanik, again, I don't know if are you still watching the show. I'm sure that you are at some point or another. I would like to extend the invitation to you and Adam Christensen as well for that congressional seat 3. So if y'all want to come on here and debate as well, we would love to have you. We will pick the place. We've got several in mind and several things that we can come up with. So we would love to have you guys as well. So if you're interested, you can hit us up on the spot, 32091@gmail.com. You can message or call or get a hold of Mr. Dave Holland, owner of Harry Business, by the way. So while you're talking to him, go ahead and get that smooth do that you may like, right? While he's talking to you, you can go in there and get you a beautiful $10 haircut. Hey, he does it right here.
The debate cut.
The debate cut, right? Hey, hey, I like that. The debate cut.
Debate cut.
Yeah. Let's call it. Yeah.
I want to make you presidential.
Yes, exactly. Look presidential.
Look presidential.
Yeah. Or
then you'll feel presidential.
Yeah. Or you can get a hold of Mr. Michael Eater. He monitors our page. You get a hold of Austin Stevens through the Weather Service. Austin will let me know. I can tell you who's
Michael actually has access to our page so he can see direct messages.
That sounds good. So, Michael or you, I was mainly you because I know you are monitored about 3:30 every morning. And I know that if I need to talk to you, I can call you at 3:30, Austin.
Yep, I'll answer.
I told you. I knew it. So, real quick, round the table. Dave, I know you were doing the twirl thing there. Does that mean let's go? I told on you, see?
Oh, you did.
Yes, I did. Dave, fans, no, Dave. He's telling me to wrap it up. Actually, you know what he was telling me? He was saying go around the table. So I'll start with you, Dave.
I just want to say Ruth Ginsburg
Yep.
passed away. It's going to be missed. She was a great woman. Started long when women hardly had rights, and
Yeah.
come through those ears, and
Yeah.
that's it.
There you go.
Right.
Great show tonight. Thanks to you once again for letting me sit in here.
Absolutely.
Byron and Mitchell will be back with us on Tuesday night. I'll slide back behind the camera where I belong because, as we all know, I have the perfect face for radio and the perfect voice for a mime. That being said, I look forward to a great show coming up like that one. And again, thank you guys for tuning in.
How about it, Austin? Quick weather update.
So I have a quick weather update. We got beta with the biggest cone I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
I don't know what to make of that forecast.
Ooh.
I'm gonna leave that cattywampus mess alone.
Okay.
I'll leave that to the National Hurricane Center because it's not my area. It's affecting Texas, even though I got family out in Texas. Not my mess, not my monkey, nor my circus. So locally to our area, partly cloudy skies starting next week, and fall typical Florida conditions. Sorry to the people down south, you can keep them 90s.
Wow, there you go.
Mm.
It's been a great show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in each and every week as you do for On the Spot with David Rodgers, the #1 rated show. I do believe in the state of Florida, and I think it's getting there regionally as well. Right along with Austin's weather service, he, as Renee said, he's been spot on. You got 5 out of 5 stars, didn't you?
On Facebook, yes.
Yes, you know what we got? We got 7 out of 5 stars.
You can't do that. It's
Yeah, you can. Well, we just put 2 extra stars in there and colored them in. Yeah, we just colored them in. You got to go with the flow, Austin. I got to get Austin to go with the flow. Austin don't go with the flow. Austin pretty much black or white. It's there or it's not there.
Yes.
Right, Austin?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Love the kid. That's why we have him on here. Another great show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget Friday night, and I'll go over this Tuesday. Bradford will be heading over to Live Oak to play the Live Oak Swanee Bulldogs. Should be a great, entertaining game. Me and Big Kevin Howell will be on the call on WEAG Eagle Country 106.3. Chuck Kramer and Lynn Bellis back at the station doing their thing. Again, I just want to thank our first responders, everybody that makes this great nation turn. Y'all know who you are. Want to thank our United States Armed Forces for putting their lives daily out there for each and every one of us so we can have our rights and our freedoms and our liberties here in this great country. And again, hey, look, this is the land of opportunity. You can do anything that you want to. Just keep your feet grounded, keep reaching for the stars. It'll come to you. On behalf of Mr. Austin Stevens, Mr. Dave Holland, Mr. Michael Heater, the vacant Byron Bagwell and Mitchell Gunner and John Probst, good night. God bless you. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we will see you Tuesday night. Love each and every one of you. God bless.
Good night.